to place. Distinct yet connected, as sisters they stand. Professional achievements, a lifetime's plan. Projects, initiatives, talents of faith, of triumphs and milestones. This is their fate. Without these achievements, where would be? They provide a better future and set minds free. The president's lifetime achievement is grand, marked by the contributions they planned. Dedication to pushing the edge, positive changes they will always pledge. A life's work, it's profound and it's grand, a lasting impact with diversity's hand. They have a kind of luminary soul, a lifetime achievement, not really their goal. It's guiding our journey through countless days for a better tomorrow in every way. Groundbreaking research, wisdom's flow. In every step, a legacy to show. Through storms and winds, their spirit soars, improving lives, unlocking doors. Improving lives, unlocking doors. They have a kind of luminary soul, a lifetime achievement, not really their goal. It's guiding opportunity so fast, transforming the unknown future's cast. The unknown future's cast. A testament to diversity's power, their achievements shining by the hour. Lessons learned, life's dance intertwined. In this vibrant journey, success they've defined. Decades of recognition, changes we've known. Challenges and innovation in every song. Honor we stand as beacons. Unknown, fighting the good fight, fighting the good starts to unfold. Waves of change are rising so high, giving us the future as a guide. Dive into the current, take the lead, break the barriers, plant the seed. In STEM's vast ocean, we find our way, a symphony of minds, plan to stay. Tides are turning, feel the motion, the waves are rising like the ocean. With open minds and open hearts too, we'll shape a world that's diverse and new. Waves of change, they come crashing in. It's where it starts, where it begins. In the world of science, tech and math, we rise together on this perfect path. Ooh. From pixels to particles, equations to art, every mind's a universe, a world to chart. Collaboration as a guiding star, we conquer challenges no matter how far. Breaking down walls, glass ceilings to shatter, creating a world where inclusion matters. For woman the world of science, tech and math, we rise together on this perfect path. Ooh. Let's ride the waves, and united we stand, side by side, creating inclusion land. With courage our compass, and knowledge as our sail, we navigate challenges and together prevail. Waves of change, they come crashing in. It's where it starts, where it begins. In the world of science, tech and math, we rise together on this perfect path. Ooh. She's got a mind that's sharp as a knife, breaking barriers every day of her life. In a field where she's often the only one, her determination can be undone. Women of color in STEM, breaking down doors, breaking stereotypes, and so much more. Their contributions to science and tech will inspire generations to come, you bet. From coding to chemistry, they paved the way. A brighter future every single day. They're brilliant, they're strong, and endlessly bold. An inspiration for the young and the old. Women of color in STEM, breaking down doors, breaking stereotypes, and so much more. Their contributions to science and tech will inspire generations to come, you bet. Innovators and trailblazers aren't afraid to speak. Their stories of success are the ones we need to seek. Their brilliance and talent can't be denied. Women of color in STEM, we stand by your side. It's time to rearrange. Embarking on a journey, a story we weave. Women in STEM, everything we achieve. A minority, yet our worth is vast. Contributions tremendous, forever to last. Our days before us, each a vital part. Pieces of a puzzle, a work of art. Perseverance, innovation is their tale. A picture of triumph beyond the veil. Diversity, strength, stories of grace, passing the torch. We light our space. Transformative impact. Women stand strong, creating a world where we all belong. A torch that spans and a flame that's strong. From those who've paved the way, now are gone. To those who follow the colors that blend, excellence, hard work, a legacy to send. Determination's fire burning within, knowledge shared, a gift to begin. Diversity, strength, stories of grace, passing the torch. We light our space. Transformative impact. Women stand strong, creating a world where we all belong. We're dreaming bigger and learning more. Boundaries breaking like waves on the shore. Guided by those who have shown us the way. A legacy of wisdom and courage displayed. Diversity, strength, stories of grace, passing the torch. We light our space. Transformative impact. Women stand strong, creating a world where we all belong. Strides for diversity, a path we pave. Innovation blooms and gardens gave. Equality's flag we do boldly raise. Fulfilling dreams in our own special ways. We are leaders in all businesses too. We add true value, equality with you. In leadership, we will take our stand for progress and unity across the land. A tapestry woven, colors diverse, promoting inclusion as spirits immerse. In education's halls, knowledge expands and promotions rise with diverse hands. Businesses bloom as our visions take hold. Community thrives while stories unfold. Transformative power, diversity is grace, uniting us all tapestry woven, colors diverse, promoting inclusion as spirits immerse. Numerous firsts, a trailblazer's trail in an illustrious career where dreams set sail. Innovation's partner, equality's guide. With gratitude and respect, let your spirit ride. In leadership, we will take our stand for progress and unity across the land. A tapestry woven, colors diverse, promoting inclusion as spirits immerse. Tapestry woven, colors diverse, promoting inclusion as spirits immerse. Our spirits immerse, promoting inclusion as spirits immerse. In these times, it's clear to see our strength lies in community. Together we stand, hand in hand, building a better, brighter land. Let's celebrate the people see community's heart, a legacy, honoring those who lead the way for a strong and insightful day. Essential services, resources to a deeper understanding. All we pursue, collaboration's power. United we thrive, positive change in every stride. Let's celebrate the people see community's heart, a legacy, honoring those who lead the way for a strong and insightful day. Collective efforts, hands held tight, shaping a future bold and bright. From every corner, from every heart, community service is where it starts. Let's celebrate the people see community's heart, a legacy, special place where knowledge reigns. Educational leadership guiding lanes. We will celebrate this shared quest. Education and cooperation at their best. Older and young, unite with hands held high, supporting growth that touches the sky. Education is a compass that's strong, guiding the way for minds for so long. In the heart of education's domain, together we foster, grow, and gain. From classrooms to corridors, it's clear. Corporate hands extend year after year, empowering minds to reach new heights. All of us learning where wisdom ignites. Talent and skill echo corporate's call, pointing to education for one and all. Education is a compass that's strong, guiding the way for minds for so long. In the heart of education's domain, together we foster, grow, and gain. Boardrooms and classrooms are entwined, a promise to nurture, legacy defined, supporting young minds to spread their wings, because in learning we can do many things, yeah. Education is a compass that's strong. Yes it is, yes it is. Guiding the way for minds for so long. In the heart of education's domain. Heart of education's domain. Together we foster, grow, and gain. Heroes in classrooms guiding through endless possibilities for me and you. Student leaders who inspire and give back will continue to be on the right track. Student leaders, a resounding praise for lighting the path in diverse ways. Leaders of now and leaders to be. Our country thanks you, it's plain to see. Not just teachers, but mentors of soul, nurturing minds to reach all their goals. A path illuminated, the past shows the next generation to bravely grow. Student leaders, a resounding praise for lighting the path in diverse ways. Leaders of now and leaders to be. Three things you explain to see. In the brilliance we find our way, embracing the future, come what may. Intelligence and eloquence say why for the innovations and what they try. Outstanding tech contributions today for strength and creativity. Find a way. In the face of challenges, they soared. Their impact and legacy adored. Profound impact, all that they share. The boundless reach, a world they repair. With tech inventions, they rise above, pushing the boundaries with a future love. Exceptional products, systems that work, intellectual marvels that are artwork. In the face of challenges, they soared. Their impact and legacy adored. Profound impact, all that they share. The boundless reach, a world they repair. With every breakthrough, they show the way. In virtual reality or light of day, testament to innovation for all to be. Human potential on blank canvases to see. In the face of challenges, they soared. Their impact and legacy adored. Profound impact, all that they share. The boundless reach, a world they repair. Two sides of a coin, they beautifully blend. Professional achievements, not following trends. Narratives of success, they beautifully bind. To discover a new way in their hearts and minds. Hearts and minds. Distinct yet connected, as sisters they stand. Professional achievements, a lifetime's plan. Projects, initiatives, talents of faith, of triumphs and milestones. This is their fate. excellence, a journey wide, a professional's path with each stride. Many contributions shaping the field, the impact of accomplishments we feel. Distinct yet connected, as sisters they stand. Professional achievements, a lifetime's plan. Projects, initiatives, talents of triumphs and milestones. This is their fate. Early in their life, the work has begun, rising to the occasion, each milestone won. A recognition of hard work is at the base for the larger picture in this special place. This special place. Distinct yet connected, as sisters they stand. Professional achievements, a lifetime's plan. Projects, initiatives, talents of triumphs and milestones. This is their fate. Without these achievements, where would be? They provide a better future and set minds free. The president's lifetime achievement is grand, marked by the contributions they planned. Dedication to pushing the edge, positive changes they will always pledge. A life's work, it's profound and it's grand, a lasting impact with diversity's hand. They have a kind of luminary soul, a lifetime achievement, not really their goal. It's guiding our journey through countless days for a better tomorrow in every way. Groundbreaking research, wisdom's flow. In every step, a legacy to show. Through storms and winds, their spirit soars, improving lives, unlocking doors. Improving lives, unlocking doors. They have a kind of luminary soul, a lifetime achievement, not really their goal. It's guiding our journey through countless days for a better tomorrow in every way. applause with sounds. In this room, magic and achievement abound. Waves of transformation rolling through. Here to prove what dedication can do. Here to prove what dedication can do. Decades of recognition, changes we've known. Challenges and innovation in every song. Honor we stand as beacons, guiding light, facing the unknown, fighting the good fight. Fighting the good fight. Powerful knowledge, challenges and praised, pioneering solutions in this changing space. Oceans of opportunity so fast, transforming the unknown future's cast. A testament to diversity's power, their achievements shining by the hour. Decades of recognition, changes we've known. Challenges and innovation in every song. Honor we stand as beacons, guiding light, facing the unknown, fighting the good fight. Fighting the good fight. With tales captivating, they'll inspire us all. Lighting a fire, breaking down every wall. Lessons learned, life's dance intertwined. In this vibrant journey, success they've defined. Decades of recognition, changes we've known. Challenges and innovation in every song. Honor we stand as beacons, guiding light, facing the unknown, fighting the good fight. Fighting the good In a world of boundless dreams told, where innovation starts to unfold, waves of change are rising so high, giving us the future as a guide. Dive into the current, take the lead, break the barriers, plant the seed. In STEM's vast ocean, we find our way. The symphony ceilings to shatter, creating a world where inclusion matters. For women of color, the stage is yours. In STEM's embrace, opening countless doors. Tides are turning, feel the motion. The waves are rising like the ocean. With open minds and open hearts too, we'll shape a world that's diverse and new. Waves of change, they come crashing in. It's where it starts, where it begins. In the world of science, tech and math, we rise together on this perfect path. Ooh. Let's ride the waves, and united we stand, side by side, creating inclusion land. With courage our compass, and knowledge as our sail, we navigate challenges and together prevail. Waves of change, they come crashing in. It's where it starts, where it begins. In the world of science, tech and math, we rise together on this perfect path. Ooh. She's got a mind that's sharp as a knife, breaking barriers every day of her life. In a field where she's often the only
Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Thank
Her
you.
determination can be undone. Women of color in STEM, breaking down doors,
Soaking up everything.
breaking stereotypes, and so much more. Their contributions to science and tech will inspire generations to come. You bet. From coding to chemistry, they paved the way.
Hello.
A brighter future every single day.
Okay, to go to the mic. Yep, for the recording. Yeah, happy to do that.
An inspiration for the young and the old. Women of color in STEM, breaking down doors, breaking stereotypes, and so much more. Their contributions to science and tech will inspire generations to come.
Man, we gotta get a picture.
You bet.
times I've seen you, I don't think I've gotten any pictures with you. That's why I said that. I said I'm gonna have to just put my order in.
Their brilliance and talent can't be denied. Women of color in STEM, we stand by your side. Women of color in STEM, breaking down doors, breaking stereotypes, and so much more. Their contributions to science and tech will inspire generations yet to come. You bet. You bet. Women of color in STEM, keep reaching for the stars. Your accomplishments will take us far. You are the future, you are the change. Let your brilliance shine. It's time to rearrange. Embarking on a journey, a story we weave. Women in STEM, everything we achieve. A minority, yet our worth is vast. Contributions tremendous, forever to last. Our days before us, each a vital part. Pieces of a puzzle, a work of art. Perseverance, innovation is their tale. A picture of triumph beyond the veil. Diversity strength, stories of grace,
You just took so much away. Thank
torch, we light our space. Transformative impact, women stand strong, creating a world where we all belong. A torch that's fast and a flame that's strong, from those who've paved the way, now are gone. To those who follow the colors that blend, excellence, hard work, a legacy to send. Determination's fire burning within, knowledge shared, a gift to begin. Diversity strength, stories of grace, passing the torch, we light our space. Transformative impact, women stand strong, creating a world where we all belong. We're dreaming bigger and learning more. Boundaries breaking like waves on the shore. Guided by those who have shown us the way. A legacy of wisdom and courage display. Diversity strength, stories of grace, passing the torch, we light our space. Transformative impact, women stand strong, creating a world where we all belong. Strides for diversity, a path we pave. Innovation blooms and gardens gave. Equality's flag we do boldly raise. Fulfilling dreams in our own special ways. We are leaders in all businesses too. We add true value, equality with you. In leadership, we will take our stand for progress and unity across the land. A tapestry woven, colors diverse, promoting inclusion as spirits immerse. In education's halls, knowledge expands and promotions rise with diverse hands. Businesses bloom as our visions take hold. Community thrives while stories unfold. Transformative power, diversity is grace, uniting us all in a hopeful embrace. In leadership, we will take our stand for progress and unity across the land. A tapestry woven, colors diverse, promoting inclusion as spirits immerse. Numerous firsts, a trailblazer's trail, in an illustrious career where dreams set sail. Innovation's partner, equality's guide. With gratitude and respect, let your spirit ride. In leadership, we will take our stand for progress and unity across the land. A tapestry woven, colors diverse, promoting inclusion as
How you
spirits
doing?
immerse. Tapestry woven, colors diverse,
Oh, good. Thank you.
promoting inclusion as spirits immerse. Our spirits immerse, promoting inclusion as spirits immerse.
Ready? Testing. Well, good afternoon, ladies. I guess we got all ladies here. Hi, I'm Michelle Gardner-Ince. Most people call me GI. It is my pleasure to be a speaker and moderator for this afternoon's session. But before we get started, let's just take care of a few housekeeping matters. Let me get to my screen. So welcome to the Leadership Beyond Titles, Harnessing Influence and Inspiration. This seminar is taking place at 2 p.m. In room 250B and 250C. I encourage you all to move up. Feel free to sit up front. Please make sure that you've received a badge scan so that you can get credit for your CEU and PDH credits. We also encourage you to take a survey and rate this session. Presentations, we don't have any presentations, but I will include a presentation I'll get just based on what we're going to talk about today. If you have questions, I ask that you come to the microphone right here for any questions. Not only we realize some of us do have command voices, but for the recording, we prefer that you come to the microphone. For social media, we are on, first, if you haven't already downloaded the app, do that. But I also want to ask you to follow us on Twitter at Women of Color Technology. Join the Facebook group Women of Color Technology STEM Conference, and I believe the hashtag is Women of Color 23. When we get near the end, here's how the format is gonna go. I'm going to introduce some concepts around leadership, influence, and inspiration. Then I will be turning to my amazing panel members who will get to join in the conversation and answer a few questions and give their perspectives. And then you will get the opportunity to join in the session with questions, and then we'll close out. We will receive a 2-minute warning, so please, if you have questions, I'll be around. The rest of the panel members will be around for questions if we run out of time. But if I say this is the last question, then it's because I'm being given a 2-minute warning sign in the back. So again, welcome to Leadership Beyond Titles, Harnessing Influence and Inspiration. Before we get started with my portion, I want to introduce Smruti Jatpal. She is a engineering degree from Georgia Tech, has also received education and certificates from Stanford University School of Business. She's currently employed at Google. Yes, Google, yes. A household name, right? As a senior manager of product operations and for ML and server infrastructure. I asked each of the panelists to provide us with a couple of fun facts just so we could get to know them. There may be some affinity there. She loves reading about history, but she hated studying it in school. But here's the one that really got me. She loves watching live surgery videos, but has fainted at the sight of blood. We don't know what that's about, but I thought I loved it, I loved it. She is a boy mom to a 6-year-old, and she is married to an amazing spouse, which has enabled her success. Next, we've got Major Erica Zimmerman, Army, yes, U.S. Army, 17 years. She has 3 master's degrees. She's an MBA in global marketing and 1 in industrial organizational psychology and 1 in global management. I'm just blown away by the education of the women here. And she also has several other executive certificates. Let me tell you what is amazing about her. She is married and to an amazing guy from Germany. She is learning to write German. She is the mother of a boy and a girl. She rides motorcycles and horses and wrestled in college. So with that, give our panel members a round of applause. So you might say, why am I here to talk to you about something I'm extremely passionate about, and that is leadership and influence. And I want to tell you a story about the first time I realized my influence. I was a young major working in the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and each of us have these pet peeves, I call it, these things that bother us. And when you work in close quarters in the Pentagon, because no matter how palatial it looks from the outdoors, it's really filled with cubicles, really. So I was sitting at my cubicle, and one of my pet peeves is I don't like people to sit in my chair. I'm like, I ain't got but this much space. Don't be sitting in my chair. So I walked back from lunch one day, the summer of 1997, and there was someone sitting in my chair. And immediately I walked up, and my colleagues were standing around talking. And I was like, who is this? This must be some civilian from the Pentagon. Who is she? So I walked up, and my boss said, hey, Michelle, I want to introduce you to Aranita. And I said, well, hello, trying to be cordial, kind of like get up out of my seat. And my boss said, she is here on the Welfare to Work program for the summer, and I want you to be her mentor and supervisor. And when I tell you that took me on a journey that really awakened me about the influence each and every one of us have, with or without titles, right? So I went through the summer mentoring and supervising Aranita. And you might say, what's unique about Aranita? I was pregnant, the same age as her. I was pregnant with my son, same age as her. She had 6 kids, 6 baby daddies, and we were the same age. But when I tell you her work ethic, her ability to learn fast, the spirit with which she engaged in learning, I was just blown away. And I learned so much. I learned that she was living in a slumlord situation, but she was brilliant enough. This is before internet now, y'all. She would go buy a paper with the date, put it next to the infraction in her apartment, take a picture with a disposable camera, and then go and have the film developed so that she could document that date and time of that infraction. I learned that if you put a bag of ice in a wastebasket and blow a fan over it, it becomes air conditioning, because that's what she had to do for her and her 6 babies. But let's fast forward to the end of the summer, right? August came, and the plan was for her to find a job. Well, guess what? Despite Aranita's situation, she had gotten a job at, get this, the Drug Enforcement Agency. So while she may have made maybe decisions that, brought about her current situation, she'd never had any problems with the law. And so I said, I was so impressed. I said, I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and I said, we must make sure that all of her children have coats, backpacks, school supplies for the year, and we must outfit her with some professional attire. Do you know this is back again before the World Wide Web? I sent an email to all of my girlfriends across the Army, across the Air Force, and we threw what I call a shower of blessings for her. Do you know that at the end of that email, just because I asked, Aranita was able to have backpacks, school supplies, coats for her children. We bought her an entire wardrobe. We bought her 7 suits and gave her $2,000 just because I asked. Well, let's fast forward. Aranita is now GS-14. Can you imagine that? 26 years later, she's a GS-14. She is doing amazing. She's an executive assistant to a senior executive. She was able to get a house, Habitat for Humanity house, and all of her children are gone except for one. And I was just blown away by the generosity of the women that I knew. And one of my girlfriends said, but Michelle, you asked. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, is that sometimes we think I can't do anything because I'm just a secretary, or I'm just this, or I'm just that. But many times, not many times, all of the time, we have influence, right? And so, the objective today is to uncover the true essence of leadership and its impact on others. And that's why I wanted to share the story of Aranita with you, the impact of others. When you think of a leader, you imagine somebody who's in charge of a team, where it's position-driven. But I believe leadership is more about vision than provision. Because do you know what happens when there's vision? There's generally progress towards that vision. Oftentimes, leadership may be defined by a person's role or the impact that they can create. But what I want you to leave with today is that all of that is transcended by your personal influence. And also that, guess what? When we influence others, we can change people's lives. And I believe you mentor like you've been mentored, you coach like you've been coached, you love how you've been loved, and you lead how you've been led. And I will tell you, just 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to catch up with Aranita, when to find out what she was doing. And I also called because someone needed her. Another friend of mine called me. She did not know I knew Aranita. And she called me and said, Michelle, my cousin is in a slumlord situation. Who do you know at the HUD, Housing Urban Development? Well, how about one of my sorority sisters is a recent political appointee there? How about I also was able to get her cousin a mentor, Aranita? You see what I mean? So oftentimes these relationships, these things are meant for things and people that are not about us. So influence oftentimes is not about our personal gain, but it's more about what can we do for others. John Maxwell says that leadership is influence, period. And so while many people want to be known because of their titles, it's really about influence. True leaders inspire, they guide, they empower those around them, regardless of their formal role. And I will tell you, there have been people that I've mentored who have influenced me. You know, if you want to see proof of leadership or influence, look at the fruit. Don't look at the tree. And the tree is these titles, these roles, but what are they producing? I was talking to someone yesterday, and I said, you know, be careful about going around asking people to be your mentor, because you just think they'll be able to have influence on your career. Look at the fruit. Look at their family. Look at the way that they lead. Look at the people that they're impacting. Is that something you want to emulate? Then ask those people about being your mentor. And you know, leaders aren't recognized. I also did a post on this on LinkedIn that mentors and leaders aren't claimed. It's given, right? You don't have to tell anybody you're a lady if you're a leader. You don't have to tell anybody you're a leader if you're a leader. And you don't have to tell people that you can influence something if you can influence it, because the evidence will be there, and that's really what I'm talking about. So people are the foundation of organizations, and I always say I want to give you a test, and I want to just pause here. If you think about a meeting that you were in, the leader was at the head of the table, but when a question was asked, the people at the table did not look at the person at the end of the table for the answer. That is the person of influence. And if you're ever in a new environment, a new space where you're trying to say, who's really in charge here? Just listen, wait, watch. It's the person that everybody goes to. And that sometimes is not the person with the greatest rank. Many of us fall into the trap of, I want to have a title when, as you think about your career and where you're going, think about where can you have the most influence. Because influence is like, the drop in that lake where it just ripples, right? And the effect happens on so many people. And I can tell you, as a person who's had the honor of what I call sitting in the front row seat of so many amazing leaders, many of who are senior to me, but think of me as someone they want to, whose perspective they want. That is humbling that a person would think that you've had influence on their success. So think of it beyond your position, beyond formal titles, and also another thing about becoming a leader is a leader of influence is developing some attributes, right? And so I'm going to talk about 7 of these attributes. But first, I want to ask you, what kind of influencer are you? Influencer number 1 is a person who helps the organization exist and holds it accountable. Sometimes that's somebody in Congress. Sometimes that's a board of directors, right? A second influencer can be professional organizations. When you think about Consumer Reports, they're an organization that holds an organization accountable. Then you think about professional organizations like this. It can be, the women's associations or, minority minority business development agency. It can be any kind of organization that helps the industry thought leadership, is a thought leadership in that industry. Movers and shakers, those are people who are stand out as professionals and become known for their work and thought leadership. And this is something I want to challenge you with. I was talking to a young lady yesterday about, she works at the NSA, and she was telling me about how she's probably in her 20s, how passionate she was about leadership and diversity, and how what the agency is doing is not matching the message they are saying. And I said, why don't you start to talk and give your perspective? You can be an expert in anything in 5 years. If you narrow down and say, I want to become an expert on these things, you read everything you can find, you watch YouTube videos, you attend seminars in that area. In 5 years, I told her she will be standing up here on a panel and we will be listening. And I want to challenge you. You know, your job is your job. Your career is your job, is your career. But what will you be known for? What's your unique perspective? So, like when you're listening to me and the panel members and others, don't write down what we say. Write down, this is what I told her, write down what you feel. Write down what you think, because that then becomes your unique perspective on that topic. And that gives you authority. Make your own space to be your own influencer, and that's really what I'm talking about. Then there's the influencers that work outside the organization but have your boss or leader's ear. Have you ever been like, where did this person come from? Why is my boss listening to what they say? We know what's going on. You may not understand it. It may be that they went to college together. Maybe that they're best friends. Maybe they're at the same golf club together. It may be, some relate, but just know and recognize that influence. Don't get angry about it, because there's nothing you can do, because that foundation has been laid long before you got there. Your job is to figure out, how do I either join in or influence the person who influence the influencer who's influencing your boss or senior leader. Then influencer 5 is your boss's inner circle of advisors. I love this. You know why? Because sometimes it's the people that work for you, and it's really, it's kind of insubordinate, especially if they're not speaking well of you. But you can't change that, because oftentimes influence is based on common ground, right? It might be race, it might be sex or gender, it might be a football team, it might be our kids go to the same school, we're in the same organization. That's, it is what it is. And these are, just people that we have to figure out, how do we influence them? And one of the easiest ways, not easiest ways, the most strategic ways to gain influence is to use other people's influence. Use your influence to influence the people that are influencing your boss or your organization. So let's talk about, lastly, I want to kind of talk about when someone's influential. One, it has a lot to do with character, right? who they are, their values. Relationships, I talked about all these different kinds of relationships. I wouldn't have been able to call one of the assistant secretaries of HUD had I not had that relationship, right? And then also, it's about knowledge. People trust people who know what they're talking about. Let's just keep it real. So, continue to be an expert. We don't know what Steve Jobs wasn't good at. We don't know what Bill Gates wasn't good at. We don't know what, I love this one. We don't know what, oh my God, I just lost her name. What's the lady who was with Snoop Dogg that went to jail? What's her name? Martha Stewart. We don't know well, we do know what she was good at, but guess what? Do you see how she recovered? Regardless, because of her influence, right? Even when and that's another thing. When you fail, be humble enough to go to people who can influence and help you with your comeback. Don't isolate yourself from that. And then, intuition. I'm going to hit this one, and then we're going to come to questions, ladies, in just a couple more. As women, we have a keen intuition. But most of us spent most of our lives people telling us we ain't know what we're talking about, we're crazy, well, I don't see that, how do you know that? Forget it. If there's nothing else, trust yourself. I'm going to say that again. Trust yourself. You see something because there is something. But here's the part I want to get to. You don't need anybody to validate that. That's where we go wrong is we think we need to tell somebody and then they need to affirm what our intuition is. We don't need to. Just trust it, use it to protect yourself, use it to give yourself an advantage, to get ahead, but trust that intuition. Also, when you have intuition and you do things and people are like, wow, how did you know that? How did you get ahead? People, and you do that on a consistent basis, people will they will trust you because they're like, wow, she's really insightful. So, leaders see past what is, they see more and before, right? And using that intuition. Your experience, where you've been through challenges. People are watching. I always say there are fans and there are haters. And they're watching to see how you handle things. And you handling it well will give you influence. That resilience, that you handling adversity with grace will give you influence. Your past successes, it is what it is. Your success, your past success opens doors for where you'll go in the future. You extended yourself, you took risk. Then your ability, it's all about what can you do, what are you capable of? And one of the things I always tell my children who are adults now, the best thing you can do is know yourself. Know thyself, trust thyself. Because when you know yourself, you're going to say, that's not me. Now, don't ask me, I'll tell you one thing, don't ask me to do public math unless it deals with shopping. Because my mother believed in follow her man, and my dad was in the Army. And you can pick up on a lot of subjects, but you can't pick up on math. So thank God for calculators and iPhones, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to do math. And then, leadership is nothing more, nothing less than influence. And I want each of you to think of a way as our panelists get ready to answer some questions, and we're going to have a dialogue. What do I have the vision, the passion, and the power to influence? What do I have the vision, the passion, and the power to influence? And you might say, I don't know what that is. Well, my grandmother, the military has been an amazing advantage to my family. In one generation, it increased the wealth of my family. My mother's mother went to the 3rd grade, and my father's her father went to the 6th grade, and then on the other side, my grandfather went to the 8th grade. Well, let me tell you something. My grandmother, who went to the 3rd grade, was a very wise woman. And she used to say, if you don't do it, or if you do it, who is going to beat you? And I'm saying that because on that vision, that power and passion and power, that power, sometimes we give other people more power than they have. They don't have the power. We have intellectual capital, ideas, thoughts in our minds. We know people. We can influence people and help the mission. And we don't need anybody's permission to do that. So with that, I'm going to ask our panelists a couple of questions. And the first one is, how can you use, or have you used, your position, power, and influence to help others? If you can give a situation or a thought.
Sure.
Would you pull it a little closer? I don't think they can hear you.
Can you guys hear me now? Mm-hmm. All right. So I think before I answer that question,
Please.
I'd like to kind of build on what position, power, and influence means to me.
Perfect.
For me, it is a degree of self-confidence that I need to get to. And in order to get to that level of self-confidence, I need to put in some amount of work. So in the first, 10 years of my career, every place that I worked at, my first feedback was, you don't speak up in meetings. Why don't you speak up more in meetings? And, it happened the first time. It happened in my second job, happened in my third, it happened at Google, where I'm at currently. And it got me thinking as to why do I keep getting the same feedback again and again? And it is because I take time to learn. I take time to understand, and I don't end up speaking before I am confident enough that I understand the entire picture. I don't want to go out there and propose changes and present novel ideas before I understand the business, I understand the personalities in the room. And of course, over the years, it has gotten easier, and it's getting faster to do that. So for me, when I feel that I have understood the environment that I'm working in, I've understood the core matter that I'm working at, I feel a lot more powerful. And that gives me the confidence to then step up and start voicing myself and influencing people around me, because in my head, I know what I'm talking about, and I have done my due diligence and homework. I've put in the hours. I've done the grungy work, so as to speak, right? It's not always very shiny. I go down to the detail in order to understand the high level. Once I'm at that point, then how do I use that to, maybe help others in the room? So people who are starting out newer or who are younger than me, who've just recently, maybe joined the teams, talking to them one-on-one, asking them if they require any kind of support or help, backing them up in live meetings. Sometimes people present their thoughts in front of big leaders, and it helps to have someone who is more established and the management thinks of as credible to back them up. It really helps confidence on one side, and it also presents a picture of, yes, this person who's new is actually presenting an idea that the entire team might think of as something, a strong one. So I think that's where I have tried in my position. I'm not a direct manager, but I do run a lot of large programs which are very cross-functional in nature. So I have to use this indirect leadership methodology where I am available to help you. I am available to assist you in your efforts. I will back you up in meetings and in sessions where there might be a little bit more contention, because of different priorities between teams. And it's also about sharing your vulnerabilities. So in one-on-one sessions, in, even in meetings, acknowledging that, hey, these are the things that I might have done in the past that have not worked. How about, if you feel like that you want to try the same stuff, go ahead, but this is my experience, but here's an alternate way that worked for me. So being able to then influence the thought process of people around me by sharing my successes, but also my failures, I think has helped me quite a bit.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Erica?
Hello, everyone.
And if you want to start out by giving your perspective and then answering the question.
Of course. So my perspective specifically, I want to roll it back a little bit and talk about the first time I felt as though I had influence. Me coming in from a background, 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas, got a full ride to college, but didn't know what to do from there. So I said, I'll just go in the Army and travel the world and have a good time. So as I traveled the world, had a good time, 4 years was up, and I said, okay, let me get out. And so as I'm going in to talk to my leadership, I had one of my sergeants run up to me, Crystal Schwartz. And she goes, "Ma'am, I hear you're getting out." I said, "Yeah, I'm going to drop my paperwork. I'm going to leave." She said, "But who's going to look out for me?" And that took me back to a place where I was just looking out mentally like, hey, I got the position. I'm doing my job. I'm taking care of soldiers. But what I was doing, how I was inspiring them, it didn't resonate until I was about to get out. And so I said, Crystal, like, why do you think I should stay? She said, it's how you see things. You have a feminine approach in this masculine environment that we have yet to see. And you also are a leader who does not care about the clout. You showcase us, you'll say, the commander will come down and you'll be like, hey, have you seen Sergeant so-and-so? Have you seen this? Have you seen that? Have you heard about that he just had twins or she just graduated with her 2nd degree? You make an attempt to showcase our attributes and not kind of like spotlight yourself. And so with that, when it comes to position, I sit back all the time. You already know I got the acumen. You already know I have the degree and certification. So now that I'm in the position, and no matter what job I had, you rarely heard my voice. And so I use my platform in meetings to showcase my subordinates and or, my soldiers so they can take the spotlight and they can be seen, right? And then I'll work with them, shape it, and make sure, it sounds good and it's in the way that the leader wants to perceive it, but you will rarely hear my voice. And if I need to go to the leader, I'll one-on-one or email and things, but it's very important for me to use my position to showcase the talents of my soldiers and employees.
I love that. It reminds me of a time when there was a young lieutenant heading to San Antonio, and I said, General so-and-so, 4-star general is there. You should go see him. He goes, oh, ma'am, I can't do that. And I said, yes, you can. And I want to give you a technique that I often use, is that you can use your influence to open doors. So in the military, we have coins, right? So I put a coin in an envelope. I wrote a personal note. I called ahead to the general's secretary, and I said, hey, I've got a lieutenant that's going to deliver my coin to the general. I want him to have it. Would you ask him to spend some time with the lieutenant? He's never met a black 4-star. Oh, by the way, there's only been 10 in the history of the Air Force. Would you block 15 minutes on the schedule? And she said, oh, yeah. Well, guess what? That 4-star is a mentor to that colonel to this day. We can do these things. We have the ability to open doors with handwritten notes, leveraging our influence, right? Because many times, all of you know that being in front of the right person at the right time makes so much of a difference. And many times, it's not that we're not doing great. We just, the right person doesn't notice, right, or watch. Next, you talked about being on a team, influencing on a team. How do you use your influence to create a stronger team?
I think firstly, I'd like to, running a lot of cross-functional programs, One, you want to ensure that everybody has a very balanced perspective of each other's problems. Because when you are thinking with your perspective and your lens and looking out for your goals and objectives of maybe your organization, you're maybe missing the big picture. The big picture gets more and more difficult as the size of the organization increases, right? In a startup, they say, everyone's wearing multiple hats, they're all working towards one common goal. As companies increase in size or organizations increase in size, there are so many conflicting objectives. So it's always good to step back and understand, where is everybody coming from? Why are they here? What do they need to get out of it? So once we are there, I think influence is, a lot of it is built based on relationships. So if you've spent a lot of time building up those critical relationships, when you are in a setting where now you have multiple conflicting priorities, you can use those relationships to start leveling out the field. Let people get more vulnerable and present their side, and have the others understand, okay, where's this other person coming from? What do I need to do? What can I do to help? And once we all get on the same page with respect to understanding each other's problems, then you can start working towards the common goal. And I think one of the most important things in a team is, as a leader, is ensuring that everyone is getting credit. No one is being left behind. So it's easier said than done, because a lot of times there are shiny parts to a project and there are some not so shiny parts to a project. And as a leader, I think it is your responsibility to ensure that the communication is highlighting every aspect of what you are putting out there. And that helps other leadership understand the amount of effort and the grungy work that goes into delivering something of mass impact. And everyone mostly is happy after at the end of it. So yeah, strong communication,
Yep.
leverage the relationships,
Yep.
try to get people on the same page and understand each other's issues.
Thank you. Erica?
Hello again. So for me specifically, it has been, when it comes to me leading soldiers and working with them and having big teams and small teams, I have the same approach. When we are communicating, before I tell you, hey, this is the mission or this is the direction we got to go, we're going to sit down and I need to figure you out. I need to understand. And I need to share my SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. I need to let you know how I communicate, right? What my strengths are, what my weaknesses are, so maybe you as a team member can fill that gap. What the threats are to me when it comes to lack of performance or strong performance, what does that look like? And then get your perspective as well. So now I understand your personality, how you vibe, where your blind spots are or not. And we can start to build this strong team dynamic. So that way it's more of a, you quoted John C. Maxwell earlier, and I love him. Mm-hmm. I take the approach of, and this is my favorite quote from him, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
True.
And so for me, my soldiers and my subordinates and employees know that I care so much about them. Just recently, so I'm a major promotable, right? So I have majors under me. And I said, hey, we need to sit down and talk about your 5-10-year plan. What you talking about, man? What you talking about? Just call me Z. What you talking about, Z? I said, we got to sit down and talk about where you want to go. What's your next vacations in the next 6 months? What trainings you want to do next, what positions you want to go to, all that. We don't need to talk about the current job. You got it. Congrats. Where do you want to go next? And so since that point, I've seen like a crazy, like, hey, how can we help? What can we do? Because it had took, and one of them came to me and said, it's been a while since somebody asked me about myself. It's been a while since somebody said, hey, how's your wife? It's been a while since someone said, hey, here's some tools I used here without judgment. It's been a while since somebody said, hey, let's get you for your next, let's plan for your next assignment, right? And so that's how I use my influence really, is to sit back and help a person understand where they want to go, right? And just to showcase them and their talents as best as I can. So that's how I feel like though I build an effective team.
Yes, all of the above, you know, the communication, the check-ins, the collaboration across, making sure that everybody understands what part, all small parts and large parts. Are you wanting to ask a question? Yes. Okay. And even so, I need you to come to the stage. I mean, to the microphone. Wait a minute. I had a senior moment. Just a minute. So it's all about making sure, as Smoothie was saying, each part of the team knows their importance, no matter how small or how big. One of the things that, you know, I believe is that when you have the right person in the right position at the right time, they are addition and they are multiplication. Because one person can do the work of five. If I'm an expert in that section on the team, I can do the work of 5 people. Why? Because I know what's a fire that needs to be put out, what's a fire that needs to be fanned. I know what a problem looks like, and I know what an opportunity looks like. On the contrary, wrong person, wrong place, wrong time is division and subtraction. Think in your mind of any team you've been on where that person is not in the right place, and guess what happens? They're disruptive. You know, other people are carrying the weight of the team, their attitude is nasty, and it just slows down the team. So part of being a person of influence, especially if you're leading a team, even if you're on a team, is to recognize what people's strengths are. Because people can have influence. However, you can't give power to someone who doesn't have influence in that area. I believe in people staying in their area of giftedness. And if it's a enterprise-wide team, you can go faster and further by leveraging everybody's influence that's on the team, not just the leader. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, it's Deepshika here from Ford. My question is to Michelle, what you said about having a good mentor for
Yes.
you. Usually those people are very famous, as you might say, within the company. So how do you kind of get acquainted with them in a way that they become your mentor? Because there might be other people who are trying to find their time.
Yes.
And how do you build that rapport with them so that you can actually grow?
Well, I have a different philosophy. I think the best mentors choose you. You do not choose them. Now, you know, I know some people walk up to people and say, will you be my mentor? I believe everybody needs 2 types of mentors. You need a travel agent and you need a tour guide. A travel agent asks you, do you want to go bus, train, car? They ask you, do you want to go first class, you know, 4-star, 3-star, et cetera. They may recommend a couple of places for you to visit while you're there, right? You know, hey, go to this restaurant, this museum, but they do not go with you. They give you instructions, they give you information, they may even give you directions, but they don't go with you. So what I encourage everybody to do is have as many travel agents as you can, because then you understand the different routes to what you can go. I'm a big, you know, LinkedIn person, influencer. I tell everybody, LinkedIn is the most awesomest, most underutilized platform. If you send someone an email or a direct message, ask them to do a 30-minute informational interview. And oh, by the way, if you don't know how, go to the search box, type in whatever job title or whatever area you want, research their background, Google them to death. Please don't get on that 30-minute call and ask them something that you can find on the internet. And ask them what would they do if they were you at this time. Ask them to tell their story about how they got where they are. And ask them, based on where the trend of the industry is going, what would they do now if they were you? I'm telling you, it works 1,000 times. I've done interviews, and it has gotten me, you know, I've spoken at different platforms just from those interviews. Now, the second thing is you travel agent, right? Now tour guide. If you are blessed to have one tour guide in your life, you're anointed, okay? And that's a person who says, I see you, and I want to help you get to where you're going to be, and I'm going with you. They're going to give you instruction. They're going to give you information. They're going to give you direction, but they're going to be holding up the flag now saying, follow me this way. And they're saying, follow me this way because they've been on that journey before. They've been where you want to go, right? And when they say, oh, put your raincoat on, you're like, it's not raining on it. They're like, I'm telling you, you need a raincoat because when we turn around this corner, it's going to be raining. So, and I also want to encourage you to be value-based in your mentor selections, because many people are successful, but how they got there may not align with your values. So really look at who they are. You can research people on Facebook. You can research people all over. I tell my vet biz lady, stalk that man, girl. Does he do black liquor, white liquor? What's his football team? And I don't mean that, I mean their client. Just that level of detail of understanding, because the more you know them and the more your affinity aligns with them, it doesn't even have to be race or gender. It can be your passion for a hobby or a team will be the first, the first foundation of that relationship. Then it just builds and it builds and it builds.
Thank you.
No,
One
thank you.
more question for Smriti. So you mentioned in terms of when leader comes up to you and asks you, how can I help you? So what are you looking from an employee perspective so that you have a better idea of how to help them?
So what I'm looking for is, typically I want to understand their background. Hopefully by this point I have built up a decent amount of credibility with them. That is why they're reaching out to me. But I want to understand, what are their vulnerabilities, where are they facing issues, and take a moment to really understand how I can help. And if I can't, then I need to be very honest about it as well, right? And then do my best to point them in the right direction, because when someone comes to you for help, they are putting themselves in a very vulnerable position. If you deem that you might not be the best person to assist in their need, then do your best to redirect. But in the event that I am the right person, then I'm going to ensure that I do whatever I can in my ability, whether it is influencing other teams, using my, I use the word credibility a lot, but I really feel that it's very important to me that, I have proven myself, so I've built up my little reserve of credibility, and I will now use that to assist in what a person might need from me. So reaching across the aisle, being maybe the face of the problem at some point where, sometimes it's contentious, so you want to break the ice a little bit. So if you can do that.
Thank you. Erica, did you want to add?
For me, it would be more of a, and you're speaking more of a client to employee or employee to employee?
Employee to employer.
So for me, it would be understanding. I think we get a lot of anxiety because there's no clear expectation set, and you don't know. So for me specifically, I would do these elaborate plans, and I was like, this is exactly what they're looking for, and I would come and I didn't expect that, or I wasn't thinking about that. So what I like to do personally is sit down and say, okay, what are the clear goals? What are the expectations, right? And then see if I can even do that, just like what you said. Can I do I need to bring more team members on to help me get to this? Do I need to get more training? That's why I got all that stuff, because I've been put in positions where I was like, I don't think I'm ready for that, but let me get ready, right? And so knowing your abilities, yourself, right? And then being able to say, I don't think I can fulfill this project. I'm not the right person. Being honest. Sometimes you have to be honest, and that gives you more credibility
does.
and influence
It does.
because you're honest, right? So that's what I would just add a little more salt to that.
Yeah,
Great.
and I do want to add that there's a short-term pain and a long-term gain.
True.
Right? The short-term pain might be that, oh, she didn't take it up. But you're doing the right thing for the big picture. So that's the long-term gain.
Do we have other questions? Thanks, since we're starting the questions. Anybody? Come on to the mic if you have a question. I want to ask a question. I'm going to give you, I'll pause for a minute. Then I want to take an informal poll of the audience. Anybody have a question? Okay. I want you to raise your hand. How many of you have felt invisible at any time in your career? Raise your hand. Look around. I want you to look at how many hands there are. Do you know how hard it is to have influence if you don't feel visible? And so if you don't gain anything else from today, I want you to begin to realize that you don't have to influence the whole world. You just have to influence yours. Does that make sense? You don't have to influence the whole world. You just have to influence yours. And your world is whatever you create in that, right? And let me tell you, much of my career success, yes, I worked for my bosses. They awarded me. They, helped me get promoted. But my greatest influence on my career were from people who were outside of my organization. And so I want to encourage you to seek mentors from other organizations that may be aligned with what you want to do, because guess what that does? Do you know that informational interview I mentioned? It also is an interview. Because when that senior person that you found on LinkedIn and you talk with them, you're not going to be top of mind. And when they're in those circles, I just met with a lady from LinkedIn that might be good for that. Let me ask her for her resume. Do not underestimate that small doors lead to big rooms. They do. But you have the ability to not only influence your organization, but influence your community, also influence your personal career, and it's up to you. And your title does not limit that. And let me tell you, if you have any I don't know where your spiritual basis is, but I believe what's for me is for me, and can't nobody take it. So if I missed it, it wasn't for me. And that's okay, because there's something better. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a question, more of a statement. And first of all, that networking thing is important because the last 3 jobs I've gotten has all been from picking up the phone and saying, hey, anybody got anything? So I did spend most of my career as a leader without a title, although now I have a very lovely title. I'm a Director of User Experience at ICF.
Wow.
But I'm different. And in fact, everyone in this room, we're different. And so what I found was I just started doing what was important to me. And this even started in college. I went to an all-women's college, but it was a white women's college. So just by doing what mattered to me and what was important to me, I naturally began leading without even realizing that I was leading. And people recognized me. I mean, it was weird. I'm walking across campus, I don't know anybody, and people be like, oh, Dara. And I'm like, who are you? But just doing what was important to me made me become a leader, and people started giving me space, listening to what I had to say. I became a change maker. I changed every single organization that I worked for, like dramatically, just by doing what I wanted to do. So I would encourage you all to do that. And then, it's funny because the position I have now, the company I'm with now, when I went to ICF after being burned from people getting my accolades, I finally was like, you know what, I'm just going to sit back, do my job, not say anything. But my management team recognized that I knew stuff and started slowly kind of pulling it from me. And next thing I knew, they're like, we're going to have you be a manager. And the next thing they're like, have you thought about partnership? And I was like, well, no. And I am a person who routinely, every 4 years, would change jobs. That's how I moved up. I would change jobs. And so for the first time now, I'm in a company where I'm going on, I went 7 years last Tuesday, right? I'm a partner and I'm a director.
Wow.
I don't have any plans to leave, which to me was like, I've made this commitment to them, which is amazing. But now as a leader, I'm turning it around, as a title leader, I'm turning it around. I have the influence now to hire and change. So I took my team from 5 to over 30 now, and it is probably one of the most diverse groups in our company. And I spend a lot of time in mentorship. I don't feel I'm a boss. I feel like I'm a mentor. And I go and I take my team and I'm like, what is it that you need? And when I have now my managers, like I have one she was trying to be a boss. And I was like, no. You need to think that this is that person's career and you're trying to help them with their career. You're not worried about, he didn't have the skill sets she was looking for, but I'm like, but if you look at his level, he has the skill sets at the level he's at, right? And she's like, but this person over there, and I'm like, well, that person is excelling, even though they're in the same level, they're doing more than their level. So you need to think about, are they ready for promotion, and what does he need to get himself on track, right? So I would just encourage, like, just be you and do what's important to you, and that the rest of it will come along. And by the way, I've heard a lot of people talk about being introverted. I am an introverted person. So you can do it and be an introverted person. Just do what's important to you and the rest will follow.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Michelle, can I touch
Yes,
on her
please,
change
please,
maker? So when I got to Germany, it was one of my stations. I got there, my daughter was 2.5 months old. I want to be a mom, right? I knew the assignment was a big, it's key development assignment. I was a planner for the entire Corps. I knew it was going to require travel. I told my husband, we need to sit down and make a PowerPoint. I need to go up in here and tell my leader, this is my goals, this is what I can give to you, this is my entire plan. I went in there and I told the colonel at the time, sir, this is going to be very unconventional, may make you uncomfortable, but I want you to know who I am, what I'm about, my values. And right now it's being a mom, right? And so I laid it all out. He's like, you sure you can do the job? No, sir, I can do the job. I'm just letting you know how I'm going to do the job. So fast forward, year in, I should move somewhere else, right? And so it comes up, I said, well, I know I'm slotted. I'm the best. I want to go to this best position, right? He's like, no, I want to send you to this battalion. And I said, what the, sir, I want to go here, I'm going to send you to this battalion, right? It's a tough battalion, but the command climate survey came back up. Organizationally, the females feel underrepresented. They feel as though they can't communicate. They feel as though they can't do this. So if they see you and how you communicate and how you walk and how you talk and how you influence, I think that climate will elevate and change. And so I was like, well, thank you, sir. You think I have superhuman powers like that, but we'll see. And just by being myself and being strong in my foundation of who I am, bringing my daughter to work, you can bring your kid to work. Yes, she's got a little playpen right here. Go ahead and play. Let me type these emails. There's emails. We ain't in the field shooting or nothing. So this is just, I'm in the office, like, yes. And so the fact that they were able to see the motherly, the different attributes outside of just a soldier, the humanness of, me, I think that definitely was the change maker we needed to elevate that organization to where it needed to be. So 100%, 100%.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. I would like someone to, if you feel comfortable, to just, talk about how do you battle being invisible? What do you do when those moments happen? And because all of us, it's not a steady state, but it is a state that we all are in at some point in time. Anyone? Okay, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Price is right.
How you doing?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shauna Williams. I'm with Jacobs. The invisibility question is really, it's deep, right?
Yes.
Because you're only as invisible as you allow yourself to be.
Say it.
And for me, when I was going through my bouts of trying to get that next promotion and trying to get into another organization, you know, I got passed up a lot of times, right? And I was like, you know what, that's okay. If that door closes, you know, a window will open. And so what I seek out was, I said, our company has the ability to have agile careers. And so I decided to leave the current role I was in to take a rotational assignment for 2 years in another area. And that was the best assignment I think I've ever taken. Number one, I took a chance on myself and stepped out of my comfort zone. I was in project controls for 15 years at Jacobs. And then I said, let me do internal audit. And I was like, well, people are like, oh, why you want to go to audit? I was like, well, you know, I don't know. So I spoke to I did one-on-one. I did a 30-minute session with the leader there in internal audit. And when she told me her story, I was like, bet I can do this. So I was just finished up my rotational assignment and back in project controls. But the thing is, take that first step and bet on yourself first. Because if someone within your current group don't recognize you and you feel like you're invisible, step out of that group.
Yes.
Learn something new. And then if you want to come back to that group, that's fine. But you keep on moving one step at a time.
Thank you so much. I think that was, I mean, you know, that's why one of my favorite quotes is by Miles Monroe. It's MYLESMUNROE. When someone does not understand the purpose or the value of a thing, abuse is inevitable. And people treating you like you're invisible is abuse. That's making you feel like I've worked, I've done all of these things, and you don't see me, you don't appreciate me. And you know, sometimes our mission to prove them wrong can be, you know, it can be hard, and sometimes we stay in places too long. And I appreciate you giving that example that we have to bet on ourselves and go somewhere else. And just that appreciation from that other group, it just uplifts you and gives you a whole nother perspective. And oftentimes it leads to a new opportunity. So I think we're wrapping down here, down to the wire. Other questions? Bless you. Yes, ma'am, come on. We got time probably for two questions. Yeah, we got about 2 questions.
I don't have a question, but I want to talk about the tour guide real fast.
Yes.
When I started my career, it was been a lot of years ago, a director saw me, and he decided that, you know, he was going to help me. Hadn't talked to me or anything. I did a presentation. So next thing I know, I was asked to go to a quality symposium and signed up and everything and went, and the person thought that I was like his secretary. No, I'm an engineer. I'm not a secretary, but make a big deal about it. So went to my boss, got my first review, went to my boss and says, you know, how do I increase my performance and how I increase, you know, my income? Because I came in very, very low, but didn't know how to negotiate. You know, I'm just getting a job, right? So he says, you know, you need to do what you're doing, ask questions, come in, you know, do your work, do it real well. And so the next year, I doubled
Wow.
the amount of raise that everybody got. And it's double digits, you know. Don't hardly see much of that nowadays, right? For some industries. But anyway, so that boss left Oklahoma, went to California. So he said, Mathilde, anytime you want to come to California, let me know. Be happy to do it, right? So I'm in Oklahoma. I'm married and I have a kid, and so he found out that I had to go to California for work there, and didn't say anything to him. And so the next thing I know is, hey, my boss comes to me and says, hey, you're going to go to California. You're not going to come back on Thursday. You're going to come back on Saturday because I want you to go and spend the day with your former boss. And I did. And they walked me through the facility, this, that, and the other. Say, well, you know, you don't have to come to work here, but this will be a great place for you to work. And what I learned was when someone is backing you up and they're doing those things, it can be very hard to say no, and no is probably not what you should say. So what I did is I said yes, me and my whole family, we relocated to California. So I go to California, I'm working with that company, and then that boss moves into a different company. And he says, hey,
Come on over.
you know, we could use someone with your talent and your abilities. And so, but the next thing I know, I'm being set up to come to leave my company and go visit the new company for an interview. And that was my first manager job.
Wow.
So, she's right, it is a blessing to have that tour guide. But know that you have to weigh it out, weigh it with your family. Yes. If you have to move, have to travel, you gotta know all those things are there. Yeah. So when you think about what you want to do with your life, just make sure you include all of that. Yes. Because I had to move.
Yeah.
And I've moved about 3 or 4 times in my career. But it's all been good.
And I was going to say, based on what you said with that tour guide, is so many times people want a mentor, but when that mentor asks you to make moves, that you don't know what you're getting into. So sometimes, you know, be careful, because you might have to make other sacrifices with your family.
And the wonderful thing is, because he was there, he knew I wouldn't do everything perfectly, but he believed in me, and I had that backing.
Wow. Thank you. I think we have time for one more question, and then we're going to wrap it up. Ladies, did y'all want to jump in on anything that's been said? No? Okay. Question? Comment?
We have Amazon.
Where's Amazon?
You had an Amazon shirt on last night.
Uh-oh. Come on, Amazon. Thank you.
Hi, Kayla from Amazon. So along with like feeling invisible, how do you deal with those moments when you get like performance like feedback and they're like, everything looks good, keep doing what you're doing great, but then you're not moving to the next level, and when opportunities come up, they go to other people. Like, how do you navigate those types of situations and like stay encouraged and like just inspire when like you feel stagnant, you keep working hard, and like nothing's coming your way?
That's a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could try that. So I think one, build relationships outside your organization. Very important. You know, the tour guide or even your travel agents can be from outside your organization. They don't have to be involved in your day-to-day work, but they kind of should know what you are up to, what you're capable of, right? They're seeing you on a day-to-day basis. Typically, when you are passed up for opportunities, it happens within your org. You know, people who have the year of management or who are going on golf trips or can talk football. Yeah, you know, they might get the plum projects and you might get passed over. But if you have these relationships, leverage them. And, you know, if it happens once, fine. If it happens twice, the passing over, question mark, get out, right? Move out to another organization where now you've kind of leveraging some of the relationships that you've built. So don't wait too long, you know, to be passed over. If it happens once, that's okay. Bring it up, though. You know, bring it up that, hey, I don't feel seen. I've done that just recently in the last few months, late last year, where a person in my team was handed a project. He didn't have the bandwidth, and he didn't have the background for it as well. And that guy, the person who was handed this project, he approached me. He's like, hey, I think you'll be better for this project. Now, I have a good relationship with him, but I wish that project would have come directly to me. I have the right background. I have the bandwidth. Why didn't it come to me? So I went up to the project sponsor. It's like, why didn't you think of me for this, right? Because, you know, I am actually the perfect fit for this. And he was like, yeah, you're right. I should have. And, you know, I don't engage in too many conversations about random things with people. So maybe I should have spent a little bit more time developing that relationship, where then I would have been front and center in the thought process of that person, right? So there's a couple of ways that you can navigate this, but if it happens again and again, and you've tried all these interim solutions, get out.
Gerald Gant, can I put you on the spot? Can I ask you to, we're blessed to have Gerald Gant here. Would you mind maybe adding some words of wisdom to her on being overlooked and what she might do? Thank you. I want to get the benefit, I want all of us to get the benefit of your wisdom, ma'am.
You are,
I know you'll get me later.
yes, I
Yes,
will.
ma'am.
What she told you is absolutely true, but I just want to add to that, when you know what you know, not just externally outside of your organization, but also internally in your organization. It may be a different division that you actually have to go to, but you seek those other opportunities, because in seeking those other opportunities, the people who need to see you, they will see you. And once they see you, then everybody else wants you on that team.
That's true.
So,
So true.
does that
So
help?
true. No, that's spot on.
Okay, all right, I'm going to take my seat.
That is spot on. Spot on. And I just want to echo what Gerald Gant said, because sometimes it's like, oh, you mean the manager or the VP or the general from the other organization thinks you special? Well, let me look, you special then. Wait. And they don't want, you to leave. So I want to thank you all. I want to leave you with that a couple of just words of wisdom from each of the panel members, and then I'll close out.
Build your relationships, believe in yourself, do the work, put in the practice. Without that, people don't see you with the highest regard. And the moment you do put in the work, your confidence will evolve and people start seeing you. So.
For me, the two things would be, when you're going up for evaluation, I always bring my own. I know what I did. I know the backgrounds. I know everything, right? So when I'm hearing you, and it may not be the performance I want, but my affirmations are so strong, y'all. I speak truth to myself every day on motherhood, on wifehood, on professional. So even though I may get an evaluation that's maybe par or maybe this, I know, right? And it could be something with that leader or with the organization or whatever it is. But because I'm consistent in who I am, how I operate, I get opportunities you wouldn't believe, just because of how I carry myself and how I know myself to be. And so I wouldn't worry about it on the paper, right? You know how you perform, right? You know the waves you've made. And so just be positive in yourself and who you are, and the doors will continue to open. It may not open right now, but it's going to open for you.
Wow. Have you all enjoyed today's session? I know I have. So with that, one of the things that I just want to say that I have felt when I'm invisible, I want to give up. I want to disengage. I want to not give up, because that's not who we are, but you give less, right? And so I want to close with a story that I think really talks about, leadership beyond titles, and really, speaks to the world needs us. Somebody in our world, in our sphere of influence, need us. And so I was at a friend's retirement. He was a Marine, medals from shoulder to down here. And he was giving his retirement speech, and he said, I'm just a country boy from Georgia. And I leaned over to his college room, and I said, who does he think he's fooling? He's this guy, he speaks several languages, he's been deployed, he plays the piano, he writes poetry. He's amazing at his job. Who does he think he is? He goes, shh, because I'm Baptist, so we talk out loud. And so I said, I'm going to talk to you later. So I met him at the reception table after the retirement, and I said, what do you mean? Shh. He said, you can't let everybody know what you're working with, can you? And I said, well, I don't know. He said, are you going to tell me that everybody deserves your excellence? And I said, and I'm rarely speechless, y'all, for real. And I said, well, I don't know. He said, The answer is everybody doesn't deserve your excellence because everybody doesn't treat you right and they don't appreciate you. And I said, give me your number. I'm going to call you back. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to think about it. And this was a Friday. All day, Friday night, I'm tossing. Saturday, I'm thinking, does everybody deserve your excellence? Sunday, does everybody deserve your excellence? And on Monday, I woke up. And you know what God said? Yes. Everybody deserves our excellence. So even when we are not seen, somebody is watching us. And everybody deserves our excellence. Because when we're excellent, one, we say, thank you, Lord, for the gifts and talents you've given me. I'm a great steward of them. Two, when we are excellent, we give others permission to be excellent. Three, when we are excellent, we tell others, you better step up your game. And four, when we are excellent and we marry our excellence with the excellence of others, that's where the money, the magic, the mission, and the just amazing results happen. So I want to encourage you to think past your titles. I want to encourage you to remember that somebody in your world needs your influence. Figure that out. Go do it. I'm giving you permission to do it because without you, where would your world be? So don't give up and find a place where your visibility and your excellence and your talents will be appreciated. We need you. Thank you so much for joining today's session.
Honoring those who lead the way for the strong. An insightful day. Collaboration's power, united we thrive. Positive change in every stride. Let's celebrate the people see community's heart, a legacy. Honoring those who lead the way for the strong. An insightful
Oh, here's your pen. Thank you.
collective efforts, hands held tight, shaping a future bold and bright. From every corner, from every heart, community service is where it starts. Let's celebrate the people see. People see's heart, a legacy. Honoring those who lead the way for the strong. An insightful day.